Hey guys, it's Milka. Welcome back to my channel, NutAeum. Uh, it's been a minute. I'm sure that some of you guys may have noticed. I know that there are definitely newcomers to the channel still, and I'm so grateful for that. And hello to you, and thank you for coming in and stopping by and all of this stuff. And then there are those of you who have been so supportive throughout my absence and the duration of this channel, and your comments have been so heartwarming and uplifting, and of course completely aligned with divine timing in my personal life as well. And I just want to say thank you. First and foremost, before we begin, I think in the title, I will probably put it in the title of the video, but just in case, this is not a tarot reading. Okay, this is going to be more of an update of where I've been, what's been going on, and what's going to be going on with this channel and all of that stuff. But if you feel called to watch this video, there could be a message for you in it, right? But only if you feel called to watch this. This doesn't mean watch the duration of the video so you can definitely get a message, right? This is meant to just be kind of sharing, updating you guys and all of this stuff, and saying hi again. But I will be sharing some personal kind of stuff as well. And if you can maybe get clarity in your own personal situation from hearing it, maybe you're like, oh, that's a sign that I needed to hear, that's guidance, or whatever else it may be, or that's a different perspective of looking at it that way, maybe I can look at it that way moving forward, so hopefully that is the case. I set the intention that this video can be helpful to you, but if you're also just here to be like, where's Milka been? Like, what's been going on, girl? Then thank you. Hello. But yeah, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I have always said that I'm going to try to keep it short, but then it didn't necessarily exactly happen that way. So my intention now is going to be to try to keep it focused on the points, okay? First point, where have I been? So as you guys may have seen based off of the tarot videos that you have watched, okay, also if you hear noise in the background, that is the heat. If it's too loud, it be cold, and I be needing the heat. So but yes, anyway, you guys have probably seen on my pick a card videos that a lot of advice comes through, right? And a lot of the guidance that comes through is divine, and it is divine, like divine messages and all of the stuff. It is channeled information. But when you become someone who allows that to flow, like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to differentiate. It is definitely God coming through for sure, and like the angels and all of this stuff, right? But some advice that I give is kind of like friendly advice, and it's like a divinely guided nudge, and it also comes from a little bit of experience from like when I experienced divine guidance to do something and it worked for me, and so I can give that advice to you guys. Or if it's not from a personal experience, then divine gives the advice that comes through and all of that stuff, right? That being said, I'm a very big supporter of practice what you preach, okay? So if I go away, or what, like if for example you guys are going through something, and then in the video I could be saying something along the lines of, well, maybe you should take some time to yourself, maybe it's about isolating and all of this other stuff and figuring out what you need to do, right? It's not about prioritizing people's wants, needs, or desires, even if it could be exciting for you, because you need to focus on you right now, right? So if I would give that as advice, which I have given that as advice as a reader, okay, it has come through before, I would definitely also take it into practice when it comes time for me to do that. And we can go through waves, right? Sometimes we have periods in our life where we need to do this isolation and experience this, and then you live life and whatever, and then it's another wave of like, I need to go deep again and to dig deeper and reveal the treasure chest even more because I'm ready for it, right? The treasure chest of my heart's calling and soul's desire, and the soil that I dig is like releasing the past and getting closer and closer each time to that treasure chest. Anyway, all this to say, okay, I had been experiencing some personal stuff. Okay, I've been on a healing journey for almost a full 12 years now. It will be an official 12 years in the summer of this year. Okay, I started my spiritual self-love healing journey in the summer of 2013. And it's so basically what I'm trying to say is I have come a very long way, but I always say on this channel, healing is a life's work. Okay, it's like when you're in school, right? And maybe in middle school or elementary school or middle school. It's like the first time you learn about World War II. Okay, and it's like for a day or two, and then, or maybe 3, maybe a week, like usually a couple of days. And then in high school, you learn about World War II, and that can be now for like 2 weeks. Right? And then you go to university, and in university you learn about World War II, and it can be a whole semester, a whole class, right? Or it can be a whole semester, and then you can take a course that is about a specific era of World War II that is also a full semester just on that little you know what I mean? So I know World War II is a weird example, but it was just something I had noticed in my personal life. I was like, oh, we learned World War, whatever. Basically, every single time you come back and revisit the topic, you go even deeper and deeper. That's why healing is a life's work, right? Middle school is one phase of your life. High school is another phase of your life. University is another phase of your life. These are all phases of your life. And we keep growing and evolving, and there's always so much more. That's how beautifully complex and intricate this miracle blessing world is, okay? And I know some of you may be hearing miracle blessing world, and yes, okay, it is a gift to be alive. I know sometimes it may not seem that way with everything that's going on in the news and the media and in the world and in certain parts of it, but it is all the more reason to see that it is a gift to be alive. Not because of the things that happen to us when we are kind of part of this matrix style way of thinking and being, but because we get to figure out how to hack the system, align with our truest and fullest self more and more, and co-create the life that we would actually like to be living, that our soul came in to live, right? Or with the calling to live. I won't go too much into that topic today, but basically I've been going within because I was a chronic people pleaser when I was being grown up and developing as a child, adolescent to adult. And though, like I said, I have been on this healing self-love journey, and I've gotten so much better at all of those past traits, right? But everything that we do is building us up to face and overcome our greatest internal obstacle, our greatest wound, our greatest inner conflict, right? It's like you do all the small battles. This is another thing that I would say to clients. Think of trauma like a tree, okay? And I actually spoke with a relative who is a psychologist, and I was talking to her about this, or a therapist, and I was talking to her about my way of seeing trauma as a tree, and she was like, actually, that's quite clever. I was like, Thank you. But yes, think of trauma as a tree, okay? There is the root of the tree, the root of the trauma, the cause of it, the real influence of it. Then there is the trunk, which is how your life has evolved with that trauma, okay? And how it has been intricately just kind of placed in your life, as in like just grounded in, you know? And then there are the branches of the trauma. And this is where the trauma shows up in different forms and ways, in different relationships. And it'll make you think like, oh, I'm heartbroken because of this breakup. But really, this breakup all came from, like this connection even, all came from the fact that there's this tree trunk that roots you to the root of where the trauma came, that led you to attract this kind of relationship and dynamic, because your higher self is trying to show you, God is also trying to show you, right? This is what we would like you to look at so that you can free yourself. We don't always get that right away, but that's where, you know, we can turn inward or get guidance from these kinds of channels, right? Like tarot, spiritual channels, if you feel aligned with the channel, of course. And when I say channel, I don't mean like the YouTube channel. I mean like the channel. But yes, so you don't start like with a tree, right? You don't just uproot a tree. There's a process to uprooting a tree, right? A tree is tall, a tree is big and developed, and there are these branches in the way. You start by cutting off the branches. You deal with the branches first, right? And I don't cut trees for a living, so maybe that's not the case, but this is my assumption, that you can kind of clear a couple of branches first to make sure that, I don't know, whatever. I don't know what the case would be, but this is how it is in the example. So you clear the branches first. You address the healing that's needed because of that breakup or because of this kind of work boss dynamic and relationship or whatever else, right? Then you, as you get a few of the branches out, you can now see the trunk of the tree, and you can start chopping it down. You start diving into maybe the parent relationship and whatever else. And this is still like you just started, but there's more work. It goes deeper and deeper, you know, with the parent dynamic or wherever that root of the trauma comes from. And then you finally get to the root, right? Because you had chopped, sorry trees for using you as an example of chopping, but yes, you have chopped the trunk of the tree, okay? And now it is accessible to uproot it or to start getting at the root, the real cause of it all. So it's a life's work. It's a life's work. I mean, it didn't take you a day to develop or grow this trauma tree, okay? This T square, the TT, the trauma tree. The TT, sorry, okay. But yes, so it didn't, you know, take you one day to grow this trauma tree. It took quite a bit of time, right? So again, all this to say, I had done a lot of self-work, and it was time for me to go deeper. And so like that people-pleasing quality, another thing that was very big for me was becoming small. I was afraid to take up space. I didn't want to feel like a burden to other people. And that also led to people-pleasing, you know. I was brought up, and this is nothing against, like, I love my family. Okay, this is a generational thing. This is a cultural thing. This is an era thing, okay? Because self-love and self-care and self-growth is relatively new in regards to being accessible to the masses, okay? So this is new. This is something that like my parents' generation, my generation moving onward are doing more of the healing, or more, have more awareness of this, especially like my generation onward. It's become more accessible. So that, all that to say, yes, there was trauma involved. And it's so funny too, because somebody commented on one of my videos. They're like, clearly you're someone, you're saying something like this, so clearly you're someone who's never experienced trauma or a difficult day in your life. things aren't always easy, like how things come easy for you. And I was like, wow, how much healing I have done to raise my frequency and vibration that someone thinks I did not experience trauma. That is incredible. I was like, good job, Milka. That is a testimony to success and how far you have come. But yes, it's an earth experience. There was trauma. There was healing. There is still healing to overcome. Okay. And basically, I grew up in this dynamic, which I think a lot of people have in our time and age. And like I said, it's shifting now, but that love is conditional, that you have to meet certain expectations or requirements in order to get love, to receive love. So that's where the people pleasing came from. That's where the feeling like a burden came from. You know, as a kid, I used to feel like it was a burden to love me, you know, a hassle to take care of me and to meet my needs and wants and all of that stuff. And this is not to fault my parents, because I love my parents and they were kids when they had me too. Like, that was part of the culture, you know. My mom was 18 years old when, I know that there are younger parents, but still 18 years old is quite young, you know. And my father was 21. Like, they were kids, and it was just the culture. Like, you would get married and have a kid right away, like the moment you get married, you know. And like my grandparents, on my dad's side, my grandmother had an arranged marriage at like 16 or something like that, or 15 or whatever. She was arranged, and then she finished school, and then at like 16 or 17 she had my uncle, and like she was already married with my grandfather. She wasn't allowed to go to university, you know, just like marriage, and that was it. That was life. But yeah, so all this to say, it's not like blaming anyone. It's just, this was the experience, and this is how it impacted my life. And then there were some other experiences, which I don't know if I will talk about or share. Maybe at some point in my journey I could, but I want to respect everyone who was involved in those circumstances. And I would never want anyone to be able to pinpoint an individual or individuals in that kind of thing and to treat them differently, because a lot of healing has come up with that. I have forgiven them. You know, they are doing so much better in their life too, so I wouldn't want to kind of, you know, it would be unnecessary. But there was also something like that happened, and it completely shut down my voice, you guys, like completely shut it down. So there was a point where I couldn't even scream. Like if we were on a roller coaster, right, and everyone is screaming, I would open my mouth to scream, and nothing would come out. It was just so blocked. My throat chakra was so closed off, and it even turned into like a health thing as well. And it was also to the point where like I would speak to people, and it would be, I didn't think that it was quiet, but people kept looking at me and being like, and this is in my childhood, you know, like I said, I've been working on myself for 12 years. I know there's a whole lifetime to go, but you know, there have been some beautiful growths in the 12 years. And but as a kid, like there were times when I would speak and people would be like, I can't hear you. I don't understand what you're saying. I can't hear you. And that would make me feel even smaller. And in my head, I would think that I'm talking loud, but for them, it was so quiet. I even had a friend years later bring up, like, because like I said, I have done a lot of work, but at some point, one of my cousins was like, you know, Milka, every time you ask for something, like when you ask for help or you're asking for something, you become so quiet. And it's hard to hear you, and like you act like it's a burden to help you. You know, this was years ago, and I was like, I didn't even realize that. I didn't make that connection, and I got so emotional from that. And then I also had a friend who was like, Milka, you're so amazing, but like when you're asking for things that are a given, like you're, you know, like basically kind of like afraid to take up space and all of this stuff. So basically you could see this was one of the core wounds. And it trickled through, and like though I've worked a lot on it there were still aspects that trickled through. And again, I have gotten so much better, to the point that that is why I stepped away, right? Old version of me would have wanted to keep making videos in this time when I really needed myself. And there was other stuff going on, but I mainly needed myself. I didn't have the capacity to give. Making these videos for you guys is a gift. But literally after I finished filming a video, because I've been channeling like for so long, I would just kind of fall asleep. Like I would shut down. And it's not a bad thing. It's just if I paced it, like if I filmed one group and it was 30 minutes and then came back and rested and did a little later, that's different. But like on the videos where I powered through and I filmed the whole 2.5 hours or 3 hours or even longer, but even just the 2-hour videos, I would, because it's so much channeling, so the moment I'm done filming, I would just like not, like I would fall asleep, just kind of like knock out. And I remember one time before I had moved to this apartment, I was living with my grandmother and my cousin just walked in on me finishing a video, and he was like, dude, you are like, because I was telling him like how it's beautiful, but you just kind of feel like a battery powered down. And he was like, I know, I've walked in on you falling asleep on the couch after filming like all the time. I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. But that, because I know that is what it is like, I know that I am also giving. I mean, I am channeling, but because I care, I'm also giving, right? So I was not in a position to be giving. If I wanted to really prioritize myself, to give myself the space that I needed to focus on me. And there was, especially in the beginning times when I was gone and then came back for a little bit and then gone again, I wanted to make content for you guys, but I knew that like I needed to kind of focus on me, right? And that would be the advice that I would give to any client. It's not about other people right now, it's about you. And for people who are naturally givers, right? Maybe more sensitive, empaths, I think it can become instinct, and not just those categories, by the way, but just in general, I think it can be instinctual to kind of give as well. So that was where I was at. And I kept thinking like, my audience is growing, and I want to make sure that everybody gets the content that they're looking for. And it put this pressure on me, and I realized I was living with this pressure my entire life of meeting expectation. Of course, it's not the expectation that you guys have set to me. It is the expectation that I have in my mind that was set on me, right? So I'd been working through that as well. And as I've been shifting all of this, I kind of realized that I do love helping people and doing this kind of work, but I'm feeling a little less called to tarot now, and a little bit more called to a different kind of channeling, like doing these like transmissions and just channeled information kind of content. And I've been feeling that for, it definitely started last year, and I'd been thinking about it before, and I even tested by like channeling a couple of videos, and I felt like, wow, this information is great. But at that time, I was a little too chicken to share it on this channel, because I was like, no, this is my tarot community, this is the content that they want to see. But I feel like the best content that you can make is, and just stuff that you can create and produce, is the stuff that is aligned with you and your soul and the direction of your life that you're going in now. And then it is going to find the people that it's meant to find, because it's always going to be the highest vibrational thing that you can create or put out there, because it is in alignment with you. It is in alignment with source, right? Because if you're aligning with yourself, you're aligning with your soul, you're aligning with source, because it's all connected. So that was another reason why I kind of pulled back, because I had noticed, there was one point where I was making videos just to make something for you guys that I thought you would like, but like a subscriber that was consistently watching my channel, that I really enjoyed, our conversation, I kind of noticed like, oh, they don't resonate with the last couple of videos, and those videos I felt like I was making because they were requested and not because it was something I actually wanted to make. But then when I started making content that I felt guided to again, that person resonated with it again. And I'm not saying everything is based off of just one subscriber. It felt like the universe was giving me a sign. It was giving me the message there, right? So I haven't checked the time of when I started, how long. I told you guys this could be a long video, so it is what it is. But yes, and I've been feeling for some time, for over a year kind of now, that I want to kind of shift out of tarot. Not to say that I'm completely done with it, that I'll never do a love letter reading again or anything like that, but I feel like I'm being called to a different kind of content that is more aligned with what I like to do, or just this current phase of my life, and that I had already been curious about and interested in, but felt maybe a little too afraid to take that kind of step. So this could have been my transition. Like the tarot could have been my taking a step in, even how I got into making tarot videos or having a tarot business. That was something I had never planned. And if anyone is curious about the story, let me know. I could make a video on it, only if you're curious. But yeah, so I do still want to help people on their journey, on their path, and work through healing and connect with their soul, and to give guidance and help them see where they can, where there are obstacles, or where that obstacle could be coming from, and how they can overcome it. It's just the way that I'm doing it now kind of feels different. So now that leads to the direction of this channel. I will be coming back, okay? I'm thinking it's going to be quite soon. I'm still finishing up a couple of things internally for myself, but I feel like I'm really tying up those kinds of loose ends so that I can just propel forward. And I think I'll be back sooner than I expect. A lot sooner, okay? Like, it's not gonna be so long, you guys. And the content is not necessarily gonna be as tarot based anymore. And it's gonna just be kind of like channeled messages. Though I may still incorporate tarot, I may still do the love letter readings once in a while, because they did bring me joy. But as we evolve, the things that we feel called to and guided to evolve as well. And I just feel like this is the next phase of my life, and whoever wants to stick around for that and to see if this next phase also resonates with their journey and kind of how they are evolving, and all of this stuff, and we can continue to be a community together, that'll be wonderful. I would understand if some people are like, well, I only want the tarot content. I'm not removing the tarot content. It is keeping on the channel. All of the videos that I've created will stay on the channel. It's just, it'll be a different kind of content that gets posted. So if you're curious, you can stick around. For those of you who may be curious about Mr. Wizard, Mr. Wizard is not going to disappear from this channel either. Okay, Mr. Wizard is a whole persona. So Mr. Wizard, I don't know exactly how or when, but Mr. Wizard is going to continue to make guest star appearances as the flashy, flamboyant, and majestic diva wizard, intergalactic star wizard that Mr. Wizard is. So Mr. Wizard is still gonna be sticking around, and even I'm excited to see how Mr. Wizard is going to be incorporated in this new kind of content. But it'll mainly be, at least how I see it now, it can change constantly. That's the other thing. I'm not sure yet. I'm taking the steps as they're coming, right? We don't always see what the next 10 steps are going to look like when we're following a divinely guided path or calling. And And that is because it can always change or evolve, and there's beauty in the mystery. And it's not about overthinking it, right? If you knew the next steps, it's easy to start going into this control mode, to overthink. But if you're like, oh, okay, this is just the one step that I'm focusing on, you can put all of your attention on that and kind of take that step and then surrender and continue to stay in a flow state so that you can listen, see, feel, hear whatever the next step can be. But you're also because you're in that flow and you're in that receptivity state, you can also receive more blessings and all of this stuff too, right? So I don't know exactly what the next step is going to be, what the content is going to completely look like, how it's going to evolve. It could continue to change throughout, and maybe that's the thing, right? I'm somebody who can enjoy different kinds of styles and changes, so that could be part of it. I don't know. But yeah, so that's my little update. I wanted to say thank you for all of you guys who have stuck around, who continue to be here. To those of you who choose to stay and see how things are going to progress, and to those of you who felt called to even listen to this whole video to the end, to hear this thank you message. So thank you guys for all of your support over all of this time, all of your kind words, and for being here, you know, for resonating, for coming into alignment with the videos when they came to you, and for helping to co-create this incredible community that I'm hoping we can continue to refine and focus on, so that we can help elevate each other and keep each other in a happier frequency, regardless of what's going on in the world and in our own personal lives, as we continue to strive to stay aligned and true to our soul's calling, to God, universe, source, right? And to our most truest, authentic self, and continuing to be the expression of that true, authentic self. So thank you guys for being here and sticking around. As always, all the socials and stuff like that are in the description. Not that I'm super active on social media anyway, but who knows? Maybe that is going to be coming next. I don't know. And obviously this is also going to be restructuring in regards to how I take clients and stuff like that. That's another thing. I hadn't been taking too many clients over the past year as well, because I didn't feel right to come from that place where I didn't feel like it was aligning with me, and I was doing the whole pouring into me thing, and it was a whole thing. So I'm going to be restructuring, I think, how I take clients, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds together. And also, really quickly, I'm committing, I think. I felt this guidance as I'm also going on a journey to unlock my voice even more. Singing is a passion for me, but there is also healing that I wish to continue to do with my voice. And I think it's time for me to unlock it. Like I've been, like I said, I've been on this journey for 12 years, and it would be silly for me to say that it's completely healed, because it's not. But everything has been working up to completely free myself here in my throat chakra and in my expression and all of this other stuff, right? And so now I am on this journey, and I'm thinking maybe I can vlog unlocking my voice or something. I don't know if it'll just be one video or a couple videos, but that would be on the Life of a Milcah channel, which has also been stagnant, but you know, it's okay. But yes, thank you again, you guys. I love you. I'm sending you so much love. Okay. So much light. Love and light. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Thank you again. And God bless you guys. I love you. And hopefully you'll be back again, and I can say I'll see you next time. Bye.